Have you ever felt trapped in your own life? Like every choice you make is already decided by something inside you can't control? You tell yourself you'll stop tomorrow or next week or after just one more time, but tomorrow comes and nothing changes. The guilt eats at you, the frustration builds, and still the habit wins. You know the feeling, this invisible weight dragging you down, making every day feel heavier than the last. You look in the mirror and wonder why you keep doing the same thing, even when part of you screams for change. It's exhausting, it's lonely, it's maddening. And the worst part? It doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. Your brain isn't a failure. It's been wired to survive, to seek comfort, to cling to patterns that feel safe, even when those patterns are destroying you. Every time you think about stopping, a small, invisible voice whispers that you can't. That's the voice of habit, and it's been running the show far longer than you realize. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to fight yourself with sheer willpower. You don't have to punish or berate yourself into submission. There is a path out, a way to break free without breaking yourself. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up lighter, to take control of your actions, to look at a habit not as a sentence, but as a puzzle you can solve. That feeling, that possibility is real. And it starts with understanding yourself differently, seeing your habits not as enemies, but as messages, as signals of unmet needs, hidden fears, or unrecognized desires. You begin to notice the triggers that lead you down the same path day after day. The stress you feel when the world demands more than you can give. The boredom that sneaks in when you're left alone with your thoughts. The anxiety that rises when uncertainty knocks on the door. These moments are not failures, they are opportunities. Every slip, every relapse, every moment you've beaten yourself up is a clue, a map leading you back to what really matters. It's time to stop fighting blindly and start seeing clearly. The first step isn't to resist or eliminate, it's to observe. Watch yourself without judgment. Listen to the emotions beneath the urge. Feel the tension, the craving, the discomfort without trying to escape it. In that space, something remarkable happens. You realize the habit has less power over you than you thought. You begin to understand why it shows up, why it insists on control, and what it's really trying to get from you. And once you see it, you can respond differently, not with shame, not with punishment, but with curiosity and choice. That is the gateway. The moment you realize you can act instead of reacting, the habit becomes a signal, not a chain. You can replace, redirect, or even remove it without destroying the part of yourself that feels human, that craves comfort, that wants to survive. You start small, with tiny changes that ripple outward, each one reinforcing that you are capable. Each small victory reshapes the brain, rewiring old patterns and building new ones without pain or force. You learn to celebrate progress instead of obsessing over perfection. The tension eases, and for the first time, you sense freedom creeping in, not loud, not explosive, but steady, persistent, undeniable. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone trapped in habits, but as someone learning, experimenting, and mastering their inner world. That sense of control, of possibility, is addictive in the right way. And as you embrace it, the fear that once ruled you loses its grip. The guilt fades, the frustration softens. You realize that breaking a habit doesn't have to feel like breaking yourself. It can feel like waking up, like stepping into the life you've been waiting for, one deliberate choice at a time. And once you feel that, once you taste what it means to act with understanding instead of force, you'll know something powerful. Change isn't a war against yourself. It's a conversation, a discovery, a reclaiming of the part of you that's been silenced for too long. You can start today. You can start right now. And it doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to crush you. It just has to begin. Every moment you hesitate is another moment the habit takes control. It whispers, it tempts, it convinces you that comfort is more important than change. But comfort is a lie. It's a cage disguised as safety. You felt it before. The tension rising, the doubt settling in, the small voice telling you it's impossible to escape. That voice is not the truth. It is the habit speaking through fear, trying to keep its power. And you can take that power back. The first move is awareness. Watch the patterns. Notice when the urge rises, when your mind starts justifying the same choices it always has. The moment you see it clearly, the moment you recognize it for what it is, you are no longer a victim. You are a strategist. Every habit has a trigger, a ritual, a reward. Discover the trigger and you hold the key. Identify the ritual and you gain control. Understand the reward and you redirect your desire towards something that lifts you instead of something that confines you. This is where real power begins. Not through brute force, but through precision, insight, and choice. The stakes are higher than they feel. Every day you let the habit run unchecked, it compounds. It takes little pieces of your energy, your confidence, your time, your clarity. And when you multiply that over months, years, the cost is staggering. You owe it to yourself to stop letting invisible chains dictate your life. You are capable of dismantling them piece by piece, thought by thought, choice by choice. But awareness alone is not enough. Action is required. And action is not a single heroic leap, it is relentless consistency, tiny adjustments that add up to seismic shifts. Replace one step, one moment, one choice at a time. Each time you succeed, the habit's hold weakens. Each time you pause, observe, redirect, you send a clear message. You decide, not the pattern. The brain loves repetition, and now you can train it differently. You can teach it new ways to respond, new ways to seek satisfaction, new ways to thrive without destruction. Emotions will rise. Temptation will scream. Old patterns will try to pull you back. That is the test. That is the fire where transformation is forged, and you will learn to meet it without fear, without shame, without self-judgment. Because every slip is information, every urge is a signal, and every moment of resistance is proof that you are stronger than you were yesterday. Surround yourself with environments and people that reinforce your choices. Influence shapes behavior. Hidden forces are always at work, so make them work for you. Change the cues, change the context, and watch the invisible levers of your mind begin to shift. Identity matters more than discipline. See yourself as someone who acts with clarity, purpose, and control. Align your choices with that identity. Habits are not broken by willpower alone. They are reshaped by self-conception. When you embrace this, the stakes feel personal. You are no longer fighting for abstract improvement. You are reclaiming your life, your dignity, your future. There is urgency because time is relentless. Every day lost in repetition is a day the habit cements its grip. Every small action you delay is a missed opportunity for freedom. And yet freedom is possible. The path is available. The tools are within your mind and within your hands. Step into the discipline of awareness, the courage of deliberate choice, the science of transformation. Witness the unfolding of your power as old chains weaken and new patterns take root. Every thought, every decision, every act of mindfulness chips away at the structure that once held you captive. You are not breaking yourself, you are building yourself, stronger, clearer, freer. Every step counts, every second matters, and the moment you fully embrace this, you will realize something profound. The life you've imagined, the control you've craved, the freedom you've longed for. It has always been within reach. You just needed to see it, to choose it, to claim it. Nothing can stop you but inaction. Everything can change when you move. The time is now. The power is yours. Every habit you've clung to has a story, a reason, a pattern etched into the deepest corners of your mind. You've let it dictate your hours, your moods, your energy, but no longer. You can rewrite that story. The power is not outside of you, it's inside. Every craving, every pull, every moment of temptation is not a wall, it is a doorway. Step through it with intention. Step through it with awareness. You are not helpless. You are not destined to repeat the same cycles endlessly. The moment you realize this, the stakes skyrocket. Every day wasted is a day the habit cements itself further, making tomorrow harder than today. Every choice ignored is a choice that strengthens the chains that have bound you for too long. But every step you take with deliberate action, every small decision that aligns with who you truly want to be, chips away at the grip of the past. Change is not gentle. It demands attention, discipline, and relentless presence. You will feel resistance. You will feel the familiar tug of comfort and fear. That is proof that you are moving in the right direction. Growth never whispers. It shouts, and it will test you at every turn. Your mind will offer excuses, your body will crave the old ways, and your emotions will scream that this is too hard. Listen, acknowledge, and then move anyway. Every moment of persistence is a brick in the foundation of a new self. Each time you refuse to bow to old patterns, you prove to yourself that control is not an illusion. You are reclaiming authority over your own life. But don't fool yourself into thinking this is easy. Nothing worth having comes without struggle. The path is sharp, the climb steep, and the forces that once controlled you will fight to reclaim their place. You must fight smarter, not harder. Understand the triggers, anticipate the urges, redirect the energy. Each time you succeed, the brain learns. Each time you pause, reflect, and act intentionally, the old grooves weaken and new ones form. Momentum grows silently but relentlessly. Soon, the habits that once seemed invincible will bend, then break. You will begin to feel the subtle shift, the sense of lightness, the clarity, the strength that comes from knowing you are in command. And then you will see it. Freedom is not a distant dream. It is here. It is now. Every small victory builds into unstoppable progress. You will become a force that refuses the old, that rejects the limiting, that embraces growth with a ferocity that cannot be denied. The stakes are personal because this is your life, your energy, your peace, your future. And the clock does not pause. Every instant wasted is a victory for the habits you are determined to overcome. Yet every instant invested in deliberate choice, awareness, and action is a victory for yourself. You are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. The mind, once trained, once directed, is a machine for transformation. The body follows, the emotions follow, the life follows. But you must act. You must decide. You must move with urgency. There is no room for hesitation. Every time you step forward, you are reshaping not only your habits, but the very identity that governs them. You are becoming someone who does not repeat the mistakes of the past, someone who responds instead of reacts, someone who thrives instead of survives. And when the day comes that the habit no longer controls you, you will not merely feel relief. You will feel triumph, clarity, and a power that radiates through every decision, every interaction, every moment of your life. That is the promise. That is the reward. It has always been within you. It is waiting for your claim. Every second counts. Every choice matters. Start now. Do not wait. The life you have imagined is closer than you think, and it begins the moment you decide it does. Every second you hesitate, the old patterns tighten their grip. Every moment you wait, the habit whispers that nothing can change, that you are destined to repeat, that the struggle is hopeless. That is the lie you must see through. The truth is raw and undeniable. You are capable of rewriting the rules that govern your life. You have the power to interrupt the cycle, to step into a reality where you choose, not the habit. But it demands vigilance. It demands courage. It demands that you stare at the urge, the craving, the discomfort, and refuse to surrender. Your mind will push back. It will conjure doubt, conjure excuses, conjure fears that feel real, immediate, and urgent. That is the battlefield. That is where transformation is forged. Every time you resist, every time you pause, reflect, and act intentionally, you carve a path through the old neural patterns. Each choice, small as it seems, compounds. Each act of awareness weakens the habit's power. The tension you feel is proof that you are alive, proof that change is possible. You are not failing when temptation rises. You are confronting the mechanism that has held you hostage. Every craving, every pull toward the familiar is a signal, a test, a chance to assert control. And every time you do, the momentum shifts. The weight lifts. The invisible chains begin to fall. But there is no room for complacency. The stakes are immense because this is not a hypothetical. This is your life, your energy, your time, your potential. Every moment spent passively feeding the habit is a moment lost to frustration, self-recrimination, and stagnation. Every deliberate step toward awareness, toward action, toward understanding, is a moment reclaiming your power, your freedom, your future. You must act with precision, with consistency, with relentless focus. Identify the triggers, recognize the urges, redirect the energy. Replace the old with something that fuels growth instead of decay. The process is not gentle. Old habits resist with intensity. They surface in boredom, in stress, in fear, in comfort disguised as necessity. They will test your resolve, your patience, your belief in yourself. That is the nature of transformation. But you are stronger than you think. Every time you succeed, the brain rewires. Every time you pause and choose differently, the path of least resistance bends toward freedom. Soon, what once required conscious effort becomes effortless. The old patterns crumble not because you fought them blindly, but because you outsmarted them. You have aligned your mind, your choices, your environment, and your identity. You have become someone who does not simply react. You respond. You do not stumble aimlessly through life. You navigate it with awareness and purpose. The liberation is profound. The control is tangible. The sense of agency fills every decision, every action, every interaction. And yet, the work is ongoing. There is no finishing line where habits cease to test you. There is only continuous mastery, continuous choice, continuous growth. Each day demands attention. Each moment calls for presence. But the reward is unmatched: clarity, power, resilience, freedom. You are reclaiming the part of yourself that has been subdued, dulled, diminished by repetition and unconscious compliance. You are becoming a force of deliberate action, not passive reaction. The transformation radiates outward, affecting not only what you do, but how you think, how you feel, and how you live. There is urgency because time is relentless, because old patterns seek to regain their hold with every passing second. But every deliberate choice, every act of resistance, every moment of awareness compounds into unstoppable momentum. You are no longer the person dictated to by habit. You are the person who dictates. You are the architect of your mind, the commander of your actions, the creator of your life. And once you embrace this fully, once you commit to seeing every urge as a signal and every choice as an opportunity, you will know something profound. Freedom was never outside of you. It has always been within. And the moment you claim it, the life you have imagined becomes inevitable. You move, you act, you conquer, you become unstoppable. The moment you accept that change is not a battle against yourself, but a journey of mastery. Everything shifts. You feel it in your chest, a tension that demands release, a desire to act, to reclaim what has been quietly slipping away. Every habit that once whispered you cannot now trembles at the thought of your focus, your awareness, your deliberate action. You are not fighting blindly. You are precise. You are strategic. You are relentless. The cravings will rise, fierce and unyielding, testing every ounce of your resolve. That is the fire of transformation. That is the proving ground, where ordinary becomes extraordinary. Every time you pause, every time you breathe through the tension, every time you choose with awareness instead of reaction, you rewrite the code that has governed your actions for years. The old patterns will resist. They will tempt, they will seduce, they will scream for your attention. But you are stronger than the echoes of your past. You have trained your mind to notice, to intercept, to redirect. Each choice builds momentum. Each moment of awareness chips away at the old structures. Each victory, no matter how small, compounds into a force that cannot be denied. Your brain is learning, your body is learning, your identity is learning. You are becoming someone who does not submit to habit, who does not surrender to comfort disguised as necessity, who does not let fear dictate action. The stakes are not abstract. They are immediate, personal, urgent. Every hour spent surrendering is a moment stolen from the life you could be living. Every unchallenged pattern is a chain around your potential, tightening with each passing day. But every conscious act of resistance is a key turning in the lock. Freedom is not passive. Freedom is claimed. It is wrested from the unconscious forces that have ruled you for too long. And the price of delay is steep, because habits are relentless, because time is unyielding, because the opportunity for mastery waits for no one. Yet the reward is breathtaking. Clarity floods your mind. Energy flows through your body. Confidence radiates through every interaction. You are no longer merely surviving, no longer reacting to impulses, no longer shackled by repetition. You are alive, fully present, fully capable, fully in command. The transformation does not arrive in grand gestures. It grows in the quiet moments of choice, in the small victories, in the relentless attention to your own patterns. It builds silently, invisibly, until one day you wake and the chains are gone, the habit has lost its power, and you realize you were stronger all along than you ever believed. But do not mistake the ease of this moment for the absence of struggle. Resistance will always appear, disguised as comfort, doubt, distraction. That is the nature of growth. You must meet it with the same precision, the same awareness, the same courage you have summoned before. Every act of discipline, every moment of observation, every choice made with intent is a declaration. You are not a victim. You are a creator. You are a force shaping the trajectory of your life. And when you fully embrace this, when you refuse to let hesitation dictate your actions, when you commit to mastering yourself instead of succumbing to habit, the world will shift around you. Doors will open that once seemed sealed. Energy will rise that once felt trapped. Confidence will emerge that once felt impossible. The life you have imagined is no longer a distant possibility. It is here. It is within reach. It is yours. Every moment you act, every choice you make, every urge you face and redirect, you inch closer to it. Nothing can stop the momentum you are building. Nothing can halt the force of deliberate, focused, relentless action. You are no longer bound. You are no longer constrained. You are not waiting for change. You are change itself. And the time to step fully into that power is now. Every habit you've carried has left footprints in your mind, etched deep into the pathways of your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors. They feel permanent because you've allowed them to run on autopilot for years. But permanence is an illusion. Every thought you focus on, every choice you make, every action you take rewires those paths. The moment you realize this, the urgency becomes undeniable. Every second spent surrendering to old patterns is a second lost to a version of yourself that never had a chance to thrive. The stakes are colossal because this is not about comfort or convenience. This is about reclaiming the essence of who you are, the part that refuses to be dictated by impulse, the part that refuses to be defined by repetition, the part that craves mastery over its own life. You will face resistance. It will rise in waves, relentless and raw. It will masquerade as need, as fear, as habit, as familiarity. That is the moment that separates those who endure from those who transform. You must meet it, stare it down, and respond with deliberate choice. Every moment you act with awareness, you chip away at the old structures. Every time you pause, observe, and redirect, you weaken the chains. You learn that discomfort is not an enemy. It is the signal of progress. You begin to recognize that temptation is not a defeat. It is an invitation to act with intention. The mind begins to shift, slowly at first, then with increasing force. You start seeing the triggers for what they truly are. Opportunities to assert control, to choose differently, to reclaim the power that has been slipping away. And with each choice, each act of resistance, each mindful action, you feel it. The subtle rise of energy, clarity, confidence. You are no longer being pulled. You are pulling yourself toward a life that once seemed impossible. The transformation is not hypothetical. It is real. It grows with every conscious decision, every moment of deliberate action. The old habits that once dominated your days now tremble in the presence of your focus. They have no real power over a mind that refuses to surrender. But you must move relentlessly. The stakes do not pause. The clock does not wait. Every hesitation strengthens what you are determined to break. Every deliberate act of choice strengthens what you are determined to build. This is not theory. This is practice. This is execution. The body, the mind, the emotions, they all respond to repeated, intentional action. They bend to your will, to your discipline, to your relentless pursuit of freedom. Identity is forged here. You become not someone who battles habits endlessly, but someone who commands their inner world, someone who does not react but responds, someone who thrives with clarity and purpose. The urgency is constant because life is moving, habits are persistent, and opportunity is fleeting. Yet the reward is extraordinary. Freedom that feels unstoppable, clarity that feels undeniable, power that radiates through every choice, every interaction, every second of your day. You realize that the life you imagined is not distant, it is here, emerging from the choices you make right now. Every urge you redirect, every old pattern you interrupt, every act of focus compounds into momentum that cannot be halted. You are no longer a passenger. You are the driver. You are not waiting for change. You are the change. The power has always been inside you, waiting for recognition, waiting for action, waiting for commitment. Claim it, own it. Step fully into the force you are capable of becoming. The moment to act is now. Every choice you make today echoes into tomorrow. Every small act of awareness, every deliberate decision to refuse the old patterns sets into motion forces that will shape the person you are becoming. The habits that once dictated your life are not stronger than you. They only seem so because you have let them run on autopilot. That ends now. You must see every urge as a signal, every craving as a test, every moment of discomfort as a chance to assert control. This is the crucible where transformation is forged. Your mind will resist, your body will cling to the familiar, your emotions will plead for comfort, for ease, for surrender. That is the battlefield. That is where mastery is won. You will not win by force alone. You will win by precision, by awareness, by relentless, deliberate action. Each time you pause, observe, and redirect, you weaken the hold of the old patterns. Each time you replace the urge with a choice that serves your growth, you carve new pathways in your mind, new patterns in your life, new identity in your soul. This is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about proving to yourself over and over that you are not a slave to your impulses, that you are the one in command. The stakes are immense because this is not practice. This is real life, your energy, your time, your future. Every moment spent succumbing to old habits is a moment lost, a day wasted, a life diminished. But every conscious, deliberate, focused act of resistance builds momentum that cannot be stopped. Freedom is not a distant dream. It is here, growing, accumulating, waiting for you to seize it. Every time you act with awareness, the chains loosen. Every time you pause and choose, the grip fades. Every time you persist despite discomfort, your confidence strengthens, your clarity sharpens, your energy expands. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone trapped, but as someone in control, someone capable, someone unstoppable. Yet you must move with urgency because the world will not wait. Old patterns will not rest. Every instant of hesitation strengthens the very habits you are determined to break. Every moment of inaction allows the familiar to reassert its hold. But every deliberate act of choice, every act of focus, every moment of intentional action compounds into unstoppable force. You are building momentum silently but relentlessly. Soon, the old habits that once seemed invincible will falter. Soon, what once required effort will become natural. Soon, the freedom you've longed for will feel not like a distant goal, but like your reality. But this requires commitment, vigilance, and courage. You cannot retreat. You cannot compromise. You cannot yield to the small, seductive voice that whispers for comfort over growth. Every moment matters. Every choice matters. Every urge resisted, every pattern interrupted, every decision made with clarity is a declaration. You are the master of your mind. You are the architect of your behavior. You are the creator of your life. And when you fully embrace this, when you see every temptation as a chance to assert your power, when you commit to relentless awareness and deliberate action, you will feel it, the shift, the surge, the undeniable force of a life being reclaimed. You are no longer reacting, you are acting. You are no longer trapped, you are free. You are no longer waiting. You are the change. And the time to step fully into that power, to claim that freedom, to transform every part of your life is now. The moment you fully recognize the power in your hands, nothing can stop you. Every habit that once seemed unbreakable is now a challenge, a puzzle waiting for your skill, your focus, your intent. You are no longer passive. You are awake, aware, and relentless. Every craving, every pull toward the familiar, every echo of the past is now a test of your strength, a signal to rise above. And rise you will. Because inside you is a force that refuses surrender, that refuses limitation, that refuses to accept the ordinary when extraordinary is within reach. The stakes are immediate. Every day that passes without conscious action strengthens the habits you aim to break. Every hesitation, every rationalization, every moment of doubt is a victory for the patterns that have quietly dictated your life. But every deliberate act of choice, every pause before the reaction, every redirect of energy compounds into unstoppable momentum. You are not just breaking habits. You are building a new self, one that is disciplined, aware, resilient, and free. Each act of conscious resistance reshapes your brain, rewires your routines, reinforces your identity. The struggle is real, but so is your capacity. Discomfort is not your enemy. Resistance is not your opponent. They are your teachers, your guides, your proof that transformation is occurring. You will face fear. You will face old temptations. You will feel the pull of the familiar, as though it is the only path you have ever known. That is where your courage matters most. That is where your deliberate choice defines the trajectory of your life. Each small victory, each moment you choose awareness over impulse, clarity over reaction, freedom over confinement, compounds. They accumulate silently, invisibly, until one day the habit no longer controls you, until one day the chains dissolve and you are left standing, fully in command of your mind, your actions, your life. Identity is the ultimate lever. See yourself as someone who does not surrender to habit. See yourself as someone who commands focus, discipline, and intention. Every choice you make aligns with that vision. Every decision reinforces it. Every moment of persistence strengthens it. And with that alignment comes an unstoppable force, a certainty, a clarity that cannot be shaken. The urgency is unrelenting because time moves forward regardless of your readiness. The old patterns wait for no one. Every second of hesitation is a second the habit strengthens, a second your potential diminishes. But every deliberate action, every act of self-mastery, every moment you assert control over impulse is a victory. Momentum builds, confidence rises, energy flows, freedom becomes tangible. You begin to inhabit the life you've imagined, not as a distant dream, but as a present reality, unfolding moment by moment through your decisions. The path is not easy. Resistance will always appear. Temptation will always knock. The mind will always attempt to revert to comfort and familiarity. That is the test. That is the forge. That is the proof that you are moving toward transformation. Each act of awareness, each intentional choice, each moment of courage compounds into unstoppable power. You are not merely surviving. You are thriving. You are not merely reacting. You are commanding. You are not merely imagining. You are creating. The life you have longed for, the freedom you have yearned for, the clarity and energy you have craved, they are within reach, building in every conscious choice you make. Claim it, own it, step fully into your power. Act now, because this is not a rehearsal. This is your life. This is your mind. This is your moment. And everything you have ever wanted is waiting for the courage you show today. Every habit you've carried has left its mark. But marks can be erased. Every thought you've allowed to run unchecked can be redirected. Every moment you've surrendered to the familiar can be reclaimed. The power has always been in your hands, even if it felt out of reach. You must seize it now, because the longer you wait, the more entrenched the old patterns become. Every second of hesitation strengthens the grip, while every deliberate act of focus chips away at it. The battlefield is internal. The war is silent, invisible, yet every victory is profound. You will feel the pull of comfort, the seductive call of repetition, the voice whispering that change is impossible. That is where your courage matters most. That is where your resolve will define you. Each time you pause, observe, and choose, you assert dominance over the forces that once controlled you. Each moment of awareness rewires your brain, reshapes your habits, and fortifies your identity. This is not about punishment. It is about precision, not about force, but about understanding. You learn to anticipate the triggers, to recognize the urges, to redirect the energy into choices that serve your growth. You begin to see patterns where once there was chaos. You begin to feel control where once there was surrender. You begin to inhabit the person you have always wanted to be. But there is no room for complacency. Resistance will rise in waves, relentless and insistent, testing every ounce of focus you have. That is the nature of transformation. That is the proof that what you are building matters. The stakes are immense because this is not theory. This is your life, your energy, your time. Every second you waste feeding the habit is a second lost, a day diminished, a life constrained. But every deliberate act of choice, every small victory, every moment of focused awareness compounds. Momentum builds silently, relentlessly, until one day the habit loses its power, until one day the chains dissolve, until one day you stand fully in command of your mind, your actions, your destiny. Identity is the ultimate lever. See yourself as someone who does not surrender, someone who commands clarity, discipline, and intention. Every decision reinforces that vision. Every act of courage solidifies it. Every moment of persistence makes it undeniable. The brain bends to repetition. The body follows. The emotions align. The life itself transforms. But you must act. You must choose. You must commit with urgency because the old patterns will not pause and time will not wait. Every second of hesitation strengthens what you are determined to break. Every deliberate act strengthens what you are determined to build. The force you are creating is unstoppable, but only if you move relentlessly. You are not passive. You are awake. You are deliberate. You are alive in a way that your habits can no longer suppress. Every urge is now a signal. Every craving is a chance to assert power. Every challenge is an invitation to mastery. You are building momentum with every conscious choice. You are no longer reacting. You are commanding. You are no longer bound. You are free. You are no longer waiting. You are the change, and the time to act, to claim your power, to transform your life is now. Nothing can stop you when you fully embrace it. Everything you have ever wanted is waiting for the courage you show today.